Thank you for this opportunity to talk about Nigerian football. Another video, of course, to really highlight what's going on around Nigerian football. And today, I will be talking about the best run clubs in Nigeria and the reasons why they are the best run clubs. And then I'll also be talking about the best run football academies in Nigeria, and also give you reasons why they are the best run football academies in Nigeria. Essentially, when talking about the clubs, I'll break it down. I'll start with the clubs, and then I'll later on talk about the academies. Essentially, when talking about the clubs, in Nigeria, we have a majority of our clubs being owned by the state. The setting in Nigeria is that we run a federal republic. We run a federation. And so we have government at many levels. We have the federal government, and we have subnational governments, which is broken down to states and then to local governments, and then maybe local councils. So when I'm talking about states, I'm referring to state governments who have, in the last couple of years, shown an interest in running football clubs. So the best run clubs, I will talk about privately owned clubs. I will talk about state-owned clubs. But then essentially, it's just to highlight why they are well run, why they are the best run, whether private or government, and also give you the reasons why some of them are doing well, and the reason why some of them are diminishing in their productivity. And then after, we will do the same for the academies. Unlike the clubs, 99% of our football academies, the ones doing well, are privately owned. I only know of one state-owned football academy. I'll talk about it when talking about football academies later on in the broadcast. But the academies, most of them are privately owned. They are very well run, they are sustainable, and they are achieving results. So let me start with the clubs, and of course, talk about privately run clubs, and then talk about state-owned clubs, and then try to highlight the benefits, the success, the good things that they are doing, and then maybe also highlight some of the things that they are doing that is not exactly efficient and effective and productive. All right, but let me give you a list of the clubs I'll be talking about. I'll be talking about Remo Stars. They are based in Ikene, Ogun State, southwest Nigeria. I'll be talking about Ikorodu City, who are based in Lagos, southwest Nigeria. I'll be talking about Sporting Lagos. Now, Sporting Lagos are not in the Premier Division in Nigeria. They were in the Premier Division a few seasons ago, but they are no longer in the Premier Division. But they are also very well run. They are in Lagos, in southwest Nigeria. The state-owned clubs, I'll talk about Rivers United, or owned by the Rivers State government in South Nigeria. I'll talk about Enyimba of Aba. Enyimba were African champions back-to-back in 2003 and 2004. They are owned by the Abia State government in southeast Nigeria. I'll talk about Rangers. Rangers are a powerhouse, a traditional club in Nigeria. They are based in Enugu State in southwest Nigeria. I'll talk about Shooting Star Sports Club, another big traditional club in Nigeria that are based in Ibadan, Oyo State in southwest Nigeria. I'll talk about Kano Pillars. These are the jewel of the North, as they call them, the pride of the North. They are based in Kano. They are owned by the Kano State government, and they are in northwest Nigeria. All right, so I'll just highlight all of this, give you a summary, and then try to talk individually about the clubs. Why are these clubs, particularly those privately owned clubs, why are they the best run clubs in Nigeria? Remo Stars, for example. The reason is they have proper club structure. They are properly structured. And by that, they have excellent youth teams. Excellent youth team structure. That is, they cater for under 9s, under 13s, under 15s, under 17, under 20s, and their main squad. So the structure of the club is solid, is very firm, And they have excellent departmentalization of their clubs. They have ticketing department, the marketing department, they have a protocol department. So they are very well structured and they are able to cater to the needs of their fans. They give their fans excellent match day experiences. And you know, that is something that you don't toy with. That's something that helps you to grow your fan base, helps you to win over a new generation of fans. And then these clubs also have excellent collaborations with foreign clubs. So they are able to get technical expertise, they are able to export their best talents, and they are able to stay in business with a transfer of some of their best players to Europe. That's another key one. They have also invested in infrastructure and facilities. Remo Stars, for example, you need to see their stadium, you need to see their training pitches, you need to see their hostels, you need to see their classrooms to understand what I'm talking about. They also have strong scouting networks. You know, the scouting network is top class, it's top grade. The fan base is solid. And then, of course, this is also important. They have titles, they have trophies to show for success. I mean, Remo were the champions in Nigeria last season. Ikorodu is a new club, but then they finished strong last season, and currently they are pushing, contending for the title in Nigeria. And then Sporting Lagos as well, campaigning in the lower leagues, are also very well run. And then finally, they are able to build solid community base. They're building very strong community bonds with their fans. So the community is involved, and then they take the club as their club, and they are also able to make investments in these clubs. Let me very quickly now talk about the state-owned clubs. Rivers United, of course, Enyimba of Aba, Rivers, Rangers of Enugu, Shooting Stars, and Kano Pillars. They are also have success to show. They are traditional clubs, they have huge fan base, and they have the semblance of structure, although not comparable to what you see at the state-owned clubs. The same applies for the academies. We'll talk more about them as well as we go on with this broadcast. Okay, so let me briefly talk about these clubs individually. Let me just start with Remo Stars. The owner of Remo Stars is a billionaire businessman. He has a lot of business concerns, aviation, betting, hospitality, and he has a Portuguese club. He bought a Portuguese club a few years ago, and he has very strong relationships with some of the major leagues across Europe, and is able to move his players to top clubs in Europe. He also has a fantastic football academy, Beyond Limits. We'll talk about them when we talk about the football academies that are best run in Nigeria. So that's for Remo Stars. The owner of Ikorodu City is also a young man with a lot of business interest. Is also building similar relationship to that of Remo Stars with some clubs across Europe, and is making progress. And if he continues, to invest in his club the way he's doing, and to make these collaborations with foreign partners, in no time, he also will begin to record the kind of success that Remo Stars has been able to record in the last couple of seasons. Sporting Lagos is not in the top flight in Nigeria. They are actually campaigning in the second tier, which is the Nigeria National League. But it is owned by digital technology experts, a techpreneur, as we call them in this part of the world. His name is Shola Akinlade. He's a young man, a Gen Z, as we say in this part of the world, with concerns in technology and startups, and is one of the wealthiest young men around. He also, following in the example of Remo Stars, bought a club in Denmark, as a way of boosting his player transfers and development. And what this does is that it helps him to get technical assistance and also helps him in the exploitation of talent. So it's very easy for players of Sporting Lagos in Nigeria to move to Denmark, which is a development league, before they are brushed up and they are prepared for the bigger leagues. So that's the template that most of these private clubs, they follow. Have partnerships with foreign collaborators, with foreign clubs, and then they are able to get technical assistance and they are able to export talents, and that keeps them in the business and makes them, of course, to become profitable. Very much unlike state-owned clubs. The state-owned clubs have an advantage. They get huge cash injections from the state governments. And because these injections come in, they are able to afford the best players in the land. They are able to recruit the best legs in the league, and they are able to challenge successfully for titles on the domestic scene. Enyimba in 2003 and 2004 were African champions back-to-back. And the template was a very simple template. The governor of Abia State at that time invested heavily in Enyimba. They bought all the best legs in Nigeria and even in the West African neighboring countries like Benin Republic, like Togo, and Ghana. So they bought the best talents and they became very dominant, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa. They won the CAF Champions League back-to-back. But the problem with state government-owned clubs is a lack of consistency, a lack of stability. Things change very quickly. Another government may come and may not invest as much as the previous government. And so there becomes a decline in achievement, a decline in structure and lack of planning, and then the results begin to go down. So Enyimba, from being champions back-to-back in 2003 and 2004, started getting into the quarterfinals and crash out, semifinals and crash out, and then presently, it has even become difficult for them to get to the group phase. So the success is not sustained. The success is not, it cannot be repeated, cannot be, reproduced. And that's the challenge with state-owned clubs. The general feeling amongst football experts is that government is not very effective and very efficient in running business. And so they should just focus on providing a conducive environment for those who want to do it to get involved in club ownership and club administration. And if government wants to get involved in club administration, they should make it independent. Get people to run those clubs independently of government bureaucracy, of government bottlenecks, so that the teams can achieve success on a consistent basis. That's the challenge with government-owned clubs. And I listed, let me talk very briefly about Rivers United. They've been the dominant club in the last couple of seasons in Nigeria, the best club for Nigeria on the continent. I talk about Enyimba, very powerful, big name in African football, but unable to reproduce those years. And the reasons I already gave you is because there's a new government in place and the level of investment is not the same as their glory years. We talk about Shooting Stars, Sports Club of Ibadan. They are also bouncing back. The government is investing in them, and they will be hoping that a government that takes over from this present government will show that same level of interest in the progress of Shooting Stars. Rangers, the same. They were powerhouses in Nigerian football, a lot of government support, but right now they are just amongst the contenders in the Nigerian league, not able to make a success of continental engagement. And then, of course, Kano Pillars. Kano Pillars are the jewel of the North. Very well organized, very well taken care of by the Kano state government, but they have a problem. Their fans are some of the most unruly set of people. Some of those fans are some of the most unruly set of people you could ever find. They have put Kano Pillars in trouble so many times. Currently, in the Nigerian top flight, Kano Pillars are bottom of the log. They had points deducted. Why? Their fans went on rampage after a game that they failed to win at home, attacked match officials, attacked the opposing team, and the hammer of the organizers of the league in Nigeria descended heavily on them, and they were banished. And presently, they are bottom of the log. So just to rephrase, on the best run clubs in Nigeria, I've given you a list of the private clubs: Remo Stars, Ikorodu City, and Sporting Lagos, that is not even in the top flight. And then I've given you a list of state-owned clubs like Rivers United, Enyimba, Rangers, Shooting Stars, and Kano Pillars. And I told you the reason is because those clubs have proper structure, proper youth teams, marketing department, ticketing department, sponsorship department, and they give their fans excellent match day experiences. They have also been able to build a bond with their community, which makes getting new set of fans very easy for them. They have strong scouting network. They have investment in infrastructure and facilities. Remo is a leading example in this area. They have good and very strong fan base, and they have collaborations with foreign clubs, so they are able to get technical assistance and they are able to export their best talents to European clubs. So that settles it for the best run clubs in Nigeria and the reasons why they are the best run clubs. Now, let's move to football academies in Nigeria. So, football academies everywhere in the world are a critical part of football development because they offer education, they offer training, and they play very, very critical roles in the development of players. So there is absolutely little that can be done without football academies. So they are a critical part of football development, and the same is true in Nigeria. Let me start by giving you a list of some of the best run football academies in Nigeria. This list is not exhaustive. These are just the list that I've been able to research on, that I know about, and I've seen their products all over the Nigerian scene, and of course, outside of Nigeria. Some of these products have gone on to become Nigerian internationals at youth level and at senior level. So let me just give you a rundown of some of those names. Again, it is not exhaustive. More names can come up, but these are the names I've researched, and I know about some of their products. Beyond Limits Academy, that's in Ikene. We have Nice Palace Academy, that's based in Jos, Plateau State, in North Central Nigeria. We have Fosla Academy, is based in Abuja, also in North Central Nigeria. We have Ikorodu City Academic, is based in the Southwest in Lagos, Nigeria. We have FC Ebiede, is based in Shagamu, Ogun State, in Southwest Nigeria. We have Ilaji Football Academy, is based in Ibadan, Oyo State, Southwest Nigeria. We have Lanreleke Sports Academy, is based in Iliobo, Osun State, also in Southwest Nigeria. We have Imperial Soccer Academy, owned by ex-Nigerian international Seyi Olofinjano, is also based in Shagamu, Ogun State, Southwest Nigeria. We have 36 Lions, owned by the football administrator, the chairman of the Lagos State Football Association, Alhaji Liamid, is based in Lagos, Southwest Nigeria. We have Nat Boys, is owned by a billionaire businessman, very enthusiastic about sports, is based in Lagos, Nigeria. We have the Dosu Academy, owned by Olympic gold medalist, former Super Eagles goalkeeper, whose career was cut short by a terrible accident that made him unable to continue football. Joseph Dosu, I'm sure you remember that name, is also based in Lagos. From the Southeast, there is the Carl Football Academy based in Umuahia, Abia State, is owned by football administrator, Chief Emeka Inyama. And guess what? There is something interesting that I also like to share with you. Some Super Eagles players who are still playing for the senior national team as we speak are also running academies and bringing top quality coaching from Europe, creating conducive environment for young talents to be discovered, to be exposed, and also to fulfill their dreams. And guess what? An example is Simon Moses. He has an academy called Simon Eben Football Academy in Kaduna, Northwest Nigeria. And you know what? That academy has produced players who have played for Nigeria at youth level, and there is one who has played for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Benjamin Frederick. Yes, the Benjamin Frederick that we talk about and eulogize and celebrate is a product of Simon Moses Football Academy. What an interesting word. Simon Moses and Benjamin Frederick are both teammates in the Super Eagles, and it was the academy of Simon Moses that produced him. That's talking about how quickly your investment can begin to yield dividends. Apart from Simon Moses, other players like Kenneth Omeru is also investing in grassroots football academy. We have Kanu Nwankwo with Papilo Academy. A whole lot of other ex-internationals are also in this business because they have played football to the highest level and they believe they can offer opportunities for young talents to also be discovered. Let me also talk about one state-owned football academy, Kwara College of Excellence, Football Excellence, in Ilorin, North Central Nigeria. That academy was formed by the Kwara State government so many years ago. I'm not sure if the level of funding and support is still the same now, but that academy has produced a lot of players who have gone on to represent Nigeria at youth and senior level. But it's still there in Ilorin, Kwara State. And then, of course, I'll give a special mention to one academy. It was the biggest academy in Africa at some point. That's the Pepsi Football Academy. I don't know the state of that academy right now after the initiator of the idea, Chief Kashima Ulaloko, who was at some point the technical director in the Nigeria Football Federation. After he passed on, I'm not sure there's a succession plan in place. I don't know if that academy is still running as it should. That's just a run through for you. Let me just very briefly talk about these academies one after the other, really briefly, so that you can have an idea of what they are doing and what results they're getting and why they are the best run academies in Nigeria. So let me just very briefly touch on each of these academies. I already highlighted some of the things they're doing while talking about the clubs, because some of these academies supply talents into the clubs and they are owned by the clubs. Beyond Limits is owned by Remo Stars. They are also based in Ekene. It's a school. It's actually a school and it's a football school. They are owned by Remo Stars, and all the points I listed while talking about Remo Stars applies to Beyond Limits Academy. Miss Academy, based in Jos, is also a school, and they are really making impact in producing young talents, and it caters for a lot of the talents that are based in North Central Nigeria. Fosler Academy is based in Abuja, is also a football school, and they are making impact, and they've produced a lot of talent that have represented Nigeria at youth and international senior level. Is owned by a former president of the Nigeria Football Federation, Alhaji Sani Lulu. Ikorodu City Academy, I've spoken about Ikorodu City Football Club. The academy is owned by the football club, and the same points are highlighted for the clubs can be replicated for the Ikorodu City Academy. FCABAD is owned by a gentleman called Churchill Olise, the elder brother of former Super Eagles captain and coach, Sunday Olise. Churchill Olise has been in this business for a long time, and he has made a success of it. He has invested heavily in infrastructure and facilities, and he runs it so efficiently. He's also been able to produce a number of Super Eagles internationals. Paul Onuachu, Frank Onyeka. Before then, you had Sylvester Ibong. You had, a lot of these players are products of FCABAD, and he has very strong collaborations in some of the leagues, particularly in Denmark, where these players go and then develop, and then they are launched into mainstream Europe, like you have of Paul Onuachu and Frank Onyeka. We have the Ilaji Football Academy, is also very well run. We have the Lanre Lake Sports Academy, just a few years old, is a school. So the children and the kids have an opportunity of going to school and doing sports, We have the Imperial Soccer Academy, is owned by Sheyi Olofinjano. and is able to, bring in coaches from abroad, provide very conducive environment for these young ones to learn and develop their skills and make impact in Europe. And he also has impacted and produced a lot of talents that have gone on to represent Nigeria at different levels of our football. And the Six Lions, the same, very successful in creating a conducive environment, investing in infrastructure, and sending a whole lot of young men to different leagues, particularly in Eastern Europe. It's made a success of this operation and is thriving as well. NAP Boys is owned by a billionaire businessman. His name is Yemi Idowu, and he's produced a number of talented players who are making impact in Europe, in some of the major leagues. Let me give you just one example of one of the players that came through NAT Boys. Wilfred Ndidi, current captain of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Joseph Dosu as well, his academy based in Lagos, has also impacted and produced a lot of talents who have moved abroad and have also played for Nigeria at different levels of our football. From the Southeast, I talked about the Cal Football Academy, owned by sports administrator Emeka Nyama. Is also a school. So they are providing education, they are providing learning, they are providing development for these kids, and they are making impact in the lives of a lot of these young talents from that region of Nigeria in the Southeast. From the Southeast, let me just, I've spoken about Simon Eben, the academy owned by Simon Moses. No need to talk too much about it anymore. Water FC Academy in Abuja. I've also, produced a lot of players who have played for Nigeria at different levels, 8th grade and senior national team. And they are making a success of it. And they are really impacting the grassroots because their model is to have campuses across Nigeria and really touch base with grassroots football. And they're really making a success of it. And of course, I've also spoken about the Kwara Football College of Excellence, and I've given special mention to the Pepsi Football Academy. So in summary, these academies thrive just like those clubs on, collaboration with foreign clubs, getting technical assistance, and then having the opportunity to export this talent. And they have invested in infrastructure and facilities. They provide learning. They are a school. There's a structure to it. And they are also formed a bond in the communities where they operate. So they are really playing very important roles, very crucial roles in helping to develop talents outside of what the clubs can do. They have made a success of their operation. So that's how central they are. That's how important they are. That's why they are the best football academies in Nigeria. That's why they are successful business running, and they will be for many, many years to come.